play it, but I still did not have internet access at this point. So eventually I was over his house, and he decided, I'm going to make you an account so you can play the game.
Yep.
And when he said, make me account, he meant literally do everything.
Oh.
Including the tutorial.
Oh, no.
And then gave me the account and the password and said, here you go. So then I go home and I convinced Mom to let me use the computer internet to play the game at least once. And then immediately change the password.
Yep.
And then, so I'm in this world. I'm in this little town called Lumbridge. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Because he literally did the tutorial for me.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yes, especially, like, I mean, as much as, like, it's a little, like, tedious, like, the second time you do it, but, like, the first time you do it, I mean, it teaches you the basic mechanics.
Yeah, it teaches you how to play the damn game. But the whole time I'm, like, clicking around trying to figure stuff out, and of course I'm a noob, so I had no idea what to do. I got tricked by multiple people into giving them things, and it was dumb. Hey guys, I'm Bill, also known as the Barbecue Games on Instagram.
And I'm Alex, his sister, who brings only chaos.
And together we are the Gaming and Collecting Podcast, a mostly video game centered podcast.
But half the time, we just talk about anime.
And that collecting thing, well, that's mostly just an implication at best.
So come along and enjoy us on this adventure
as we discuss the games that shaped us. So, how you been?
Well, it's been pretty interesting these past couple of days. How have you been?
Well, it's been a very long and slow week.
Yep.
We're actually recording somewhat early this week because apparently the world's going to end this weekend.
Yes, Snowmageddon. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So, we're supposed to get a massive snowstorm because we live in New England, and New England weather makes no sense.
Nope.
It will never make sense, and you just kind of have to deal with it living in New England.
Yeah.
And so they're saying it's going to be a massive snowstorm, and everybody's they say, freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, I went to the grocery store today. Not for any essentials. It was because I went to the grocery store.
Was everybody buying the bread and milk?
It was so crowded. I was like, why the hell is everyone here today? And I was like, oh, so they don't have to go tomorrow. But when I was there, I went for one item. Well, I went for two items. I wanted icy hot because my feet are killing me from dancing. And I wanted ginger beer. Oh, well, three items. And I wanted ginger beer and lime juice because if I'm staying in all weekend, I am going to be drinking Moscow mules and getting drunk. No.
Well, especially if we have no power, like I'm predicting. But
see, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to jinx it either way. But
yeah,
but it was crowded. Like there was a ton of people.
Because
just like I saw this guy who had 3 cases of water bottles in his shopping cart, and I was like, "That's excessive, sir. You're being too much."
You're not going to drink that much water.
Yeah, like seriously. I'll laugh when it barely snows.
I know, no, because it's like every time people freak out this much, nothing happens.
No.
But I get scared when nobody's freaking out, because that's when you know it's going to hit.
Oh yeah, that was like that morning where it was like a sheet of ice everywhere.
There wasn't even that. There was the storm that came and demolished half of the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And nobody cared. And then it's like this one, everyone's freaking out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to get gas after work yesterday. Mm-hmm. So I got gas and I was in that area. So I was like, okay, I'll go and get beer. And then I'll go and stop by the grocery store real quick because they're next to each other.
Yeah.
So I go in and parking lot after I get gas. Gas was nothing because it was Wednesday and people don't usually freak out and get gas until the day before.
Yeah.
But, so gas was simple, and then I go into the parking lot of the grocery store, and it's a fucking shit show. I'm like, oh boy, it's only Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday, and it's already hell.
I base my options, and I'm like, I have two options here. I'm going to go to the liquor store first because I'm predicting that'll be this easier task. Now, it's funny. You go into the liquor store and it's crowded, but everybody is perfectly civilized.
Yes.
And it's like they're in for a reason. They do what they need to do, and they get out.
Yeah, they're in, they're out,
Now,
they're done.
Yep. I do that. Then I go to the grocery store. It is a fucking shit show.
Yep.
Like, people are everywhere, like, tripping over each other, grabbing everything, loaded carts. I'm like, first off, if we lose power, people, all this shit's gonna go bad.
I know. That's, like, the funniest part, when people get, like, bread and milk, which are things that...
Go bad.
Yeah, that go bad. Like, if you're that freaked out, get, like, canned stuff that will last you a while, and you can cook without, like, power.
Yeah. But, yeah, and the sad part is all I was going to the grocery store for was to get some tonic water.
Yep.
And a birthday card.
Nice.
So, yeah, I was like, what the hell? Thank God people are afraid of, like, self-checkout.
Oh, yeah. Oh, not in Connecticut. Self-checkout is always popping in Connecticut. I always have to wait in line.
The Shaw's in Carver, that actually has, like, more than, like, one register open at all times.
Yep.
So people would rather use the registers. So, like, the self-checkout, there's always, like, at least, like, two open things. So I'm like, all right, just go there.
I don't know. In Connecticut, I feel like they never really have registers open. So everyone does self-checkout. Like, self-checkout was always popping in Connecticut. Like, it always is. Oh, but I went to Stop and Shop today. Because I went to the one that's, like, past my apartment so that it's easier to turn into my apartment when I was coming back. And Stop and Shop, their self-checkouts are the really annoying ones because if you don't place your item in and hit that sensor, it will scream at you for the next 20 minutes until you, like, hit whatever weighing sensor it has.
The Shaw's has that problem, too.
Oh, I hate it. It's like, place your item in the bagging area. And I'm like, I did. Place your item in the bagging area. And then it's like, you try and scan something else, and it's like, place your item in the bagging area. It's like, leave me alone. I placed it there.
See, Shaw's, I have the issue with. So Shaw's sensor is, like, too sensitive. And if I have, like, a ring on my finger and I stick the hand with the ring in the bag, it'll think the ring's an item to be like, unexpected item in bagging area. I'm like, I haven't put anything in there. And then the tech has to come and fix it. And then I forget immediately and put the ring back in. It's like, unexpected item in bagging area. I'm like, what am I putting in there? And then I look at my hand, I'm like, it's not this, is it? I'm like, like, sometimes technology's annoying.
Yeah. It really is. Oh, do you want to hear my Tilly story of the week?
Okay. Oh, is this about her getting her hand stuck in her collar?
Yeah. So, I wake up, I think it was Wednesday. I woke up on Wednesday morning, and I noticed Tilly was being a little more clingy, and I was like, aw, she just loves me. No. So, she's walking into the kitchen. I don't really notice anything different. And then we get to the kitchen, and she jumps up on the counter because, if you don't know, I attempted to teach my cat not to go on the counter and gave up, and now she just lives up there while I'm feeding her. Anyways, so she jumps up, and I noticed that she kind of almost fell and was struggling. I was like, oh, that's weird. But I go about making, I just thought maybe she missed. So I go about getting her food ready, and then I turn over, and I notice, like, her paw, like, she's lifting her paw like she's hurt. So I, like, run over, and I'm like, oh my god, like, are you hurt? So I'm, like, messing with her paw, and she's, like, just kind of, like, whatever about it. And then it takes me, like, I kind of go back and do what I'm doing, and then it clicks in my brain, her collar, she somehow stretched it out. And it was wearing it like a sash or something. She, like, got one whole leg through it. It was like, please help me. Get this thing off me. So then I'm, like, trying to get it off her. But she's getting pissed because obviously, like, to get it off her, I kind of have to pull. So it's, like, going a little tighter. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Just let me take it off. So I took it off. So that was my Wednesday morning, and I felt so guilty about it because I was like, I don't know how long she was like that because when I woke up, that's what happened.
So in other words, only breakaway collars now?
Well, they advertised it as a breakaway caller online, but I guess it wasn't a breakaway caller, so I'm sorry, baby. I won't put you in another one. But the sad part is I have 2 more remaining from that because it came in like a 4-pack, but I'm not going to put her back in them, like if she could get like stuck like that again. But I felt so bad because I was just like, I don't know how long she was like that, because she was like that when I woke up, so she
or how she figured it.
I have no idea how she did that. I'm still like I'm assuming she got stuck on something and then tried to get out by shoving her arm through, but then pulled it over her body somehow. So right now she's naked. She likes it, but I don't like it because now she can sneak up on me and she keeps scaring the shit out of me all the time. Like I'll be sitting on the couch and then suddenly she'll just like I'll just hear, and then she'll just appear, and I'll be like, ah! I don't have her jingle bells to, like, notify me that her presence is near, so she keeps scaring me.
Yeah. Yep. So, other than that, it's been pretty slow this week.
Yeah.
I finished the Ace Attorney anime, so that's finally done.
Nice. What did you think of it?
It was good. Good adaptation of the original trilogy.
I agree. I liked it when I watched it.
It's funny. That's exactly what I pictured Maya's voice would sound like. Just as annoying as that, but it kind of grows on you after a while.
Yeah, I definitely thought so too. Did you watch any other animes, or was it just Ace Attorney?
No, I finished Ace Attorney on Tuesday, and then yesterday I just didn't feel like doing anything.
No, I hear you. I was watching Dragon Ball Super for a little bit, but then when Mom came up to visit, we started watching Dance Moms, and I can't stop now. It's just like Jersey Shore. It's garbage TV, but it's so funny, and it's funny looking back too, because I look at all these moms.
Those are horrible parents.
Oh my
Those
God.
are horrible parents.
Yeah, like they're horrible, and like some of them like to the kids too. Like there's like this main one, Maddie, and I feel like all the parents were so mean to her, and it's like it's not her fault that like the teacher favorited her. Like it's not like she asked to be the favorite and stuff. And I don't.
You know what the worst part about that show? You know what the worst part about that show is?
What?
It's so realistic too.
Oh yeah,
That's literally what these things are.
No, I mean like it was so funny. So I've been taking like a dance class. I've been taking a dance class, like an adult dance class for Irish dance, and I was talking with one of the girls who also used to dance in the past, and we were just talking about how, like, Dance Moms is so real. Because I was talking about how the dance school I used to go through went through, like, 4 different name change. I think they're on name change number 4 because of just how much of a hot mess it was. And it's just, like, it's so real. All the drama, it's so real. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something. What was I going to say? I had something in my brain, but I lost it. It had to do with Dance Moms, but... Yeah.
Well, are you drinking anything, or are you not today?
I'm just drinking some water, trying to stay hydrated, So I discovered that you're supposed to... I guess females are supposed to drink, like, over 100 ounces of water each day, and, like, I barely make that, so...
Huh.
So I've been really trying to. And my water bottle that I have is 32 ounces. So I try to at least drink 2 of these water bottles.
I gotta start remembering to bring my Inuyasha water bottle with me where I go.
I know. Yeah, I always have a water bottle with me. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Well,
sometimes
I'm not being healthy right now, and I'm drinking a Mountain Brewing Company Bone Shaker Brown Ale.
Ooh. Are your bones shaking?
Nah, it's got one of those old...
Water burp.
I'm leaving that in.
Oh, cut it out. Cut it out. I didn't mean to. No, can you put like a noise over it? No, my life is over.
All right, I'll edit it out with a fart. I'll use your fart sound effect.
No, alright, just keep the burping at that point.
Okay.
You're so mean to me.
Oh yeah, I'm so mean. Alright, Well, yeah, that was the most bizarre opening segment especially for what our topic is today.
It has nothing to do with what we talked about.
No. Well, does the opening segment ever?
Yeah. No. No, it doesn't.
Unless it's like an anime-themed episode.
This is an anime-themed one, maybe. We didn't even really talk about anime, though, because I went into talking about Dance Moms.
Yeah. All I said is I finished Ace Attorney. But anyways, we should move on.
Yes.
So, this one's been long awaited from
in the works
a number
for a
of
while.
because we teased this early season 1.
Yep.
And then we just never got around to it. But so do you like MMOs, Alex?
Sure. I've been playing one.
Yeah.
A specific one.
So if anyone's been living under a rock for the past decades, an MMO is a massively online multiplayer role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have played one in particular pretty much most of our lives. She's only recently gotten back to it, but
Yep.
since the early 2000s anyways. And what the role-playing MMO we're going to be talking about is actually RuneScape. Created by Jagex.
Yep.
God, when was RuneScape created?
RuneScape was created in
So it's been around for quite some time.
let's see,
Since 2001.
2001.
When it was created by the Gower brothers.
Gower brothers.
And so this podcast, our idea was originally it was going to be just one podcast, but then we realized in the build up to it that this is probably going to be a multi-parter.
Yep.
Not in like in a row. We're gonna split them up.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna do one now, and we'll get to another one later down the line. But for now, I wanted to start with the early days of RuneScape, from when we first started playing, and I'd say not to our current what we're doing now, but kind of growing on like the earliest memories with the game.
Yep.
To start. So obviously, RuneScape came out in 2001 with RuneScape Classic.
Yep.
And then it was upgraded to, I want to say, what was RuneScape 2, which is now known as Old School RuneScape. I believe that was brought around... Let's see, when did RuneScape 2 become a thing? So RuneScape 2 was around 2004. And that's like the version that's now known as Old School RuneScape, and that was probably the most iconic version of the game.
Yep.
And then in 2000... So then RuneScape 3, the current version of the game, when did that begin production? So the current game, RuneScape 3, was around 2013.
Well, okay.
So right around when I graduated high school.
Ah.
So, yeah, RuneScape's been through a couple iterations. The first iteration is nowadays known as RuneScape Classic, which isn't currently available to play anymore. Then RuneScape 2, which is now known as Old School RuneScape, is currently still playable in a different form from the original. And then the current version of RuneScape is now commonly known as RS3 or RuneScape 3.
Yep.
So, I guess to start off, when was the earliest time you remember hearing about RuneScape? Do you want me to go, or do you want to go?
I feel like you should go first, because, like, I found out about RuneScape through you. Like, I didn't really find out about it at school, because a lot of the friends I had back when RuneScape originally came out, I was hanging out in, like,
when RuneScape was the shit.
Yeah. I was hanging out with all girls and stuff, who didn't play RuneScape. So everything that I learned was through you in the very beginning.
Okay. So, the earliest memories I have with RuneScape, so I never got to play RuneScape Classic. Like, I missed out on the Classic era.
Yep.
The earliest I remember hearing about RuneScape was around 2005 2005, and that was at. So me and Alex used to go to this like summer camp during the summer.
Yeah.
Not the Y, the other one we went to, the one that you worked at.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to name it, though, for privacy.
But, so we had gone to that summer camp, and during the camp, obviously at summer camp, you know, you do the camp activities, but all the kids would always be talking about this game called RuneScape, and I was always like, the hell is RuneScape?
What is this rune of scaping that people are talking about?
And they weren't, so kids are assholes, and they were not very they were not very friendly with sharing information. So I kind of had to eavesdrop to find out what they were talking about, because if you didn't play, they wouldn't include you in the conversation, because that's just how kids work.
Yeah, that's kids.
So you know, a game that's designed around encouraging people to join in and play. You know, no, we don't want to share it.
No, you can't play. Man, you must find out on your own.
Yeah, so I had to kind of eavesdrop, and at the time, we did not have computers with internet access.
Yep.
So even if I did find out, there'd be no way of
you actually being able to play it. Oh.
At least not regularly. And so I always remember I had to kind of eavesdrop to find out what it was, and I kind of figured it was an RPG you play on the computer. Yep. And it was you play it online. And the most I knew about RPGs at that point was Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah. So I was kind of trying to figure out what they were talking about, comparing it to Final Fantasy VIII, and they're two completely different types of RPGs.
Yep.
So there's no comparison you can really make.
Yep.
And I kind of, at that point, I'd let it go. And then 2006 comes around, we go to summer camp again, and they're still talking about it, and I still have not played it, even though...
You had a basic idea what it was at this point.
Yeah, I knew it was a game, and I knew I couldn't join in a conversation still.
Yep.
So instead, I talked about something PlayStation related.
Yep.
Probably Crash Bandicoot or something. I thought that was the shit then.
Yeah, it still is the shit.
Yeah, but so then late 2006 during the school year. So this is right around the end of probably just starting middle school at this point. And one of a former associate I knew at the time was
a former associate.
Well, I'm not going to name names, but
an asshole.
Let's not get into that. But so
I'll
he
say
was.
What I want. Fuck you.
Yeah. I doubt he listens. I bet people. I know people who do listen who probably know who he is, but that's beside the point.
I mean, I don't care at this point. I would say it to his face at this point, so I really
bet you
don't
would.
care.
But so a former associate, though, I knew him, and he was obsessed with the game.
Yep.
And he was trying to get me to play it, but I still did not have internet access at this point. So eventually I was over his house, and he decided, I'm going to make you an account so you can play the game.
Yep.
And when he said, make me account, he meant literally do everything.
Oh.
Including the tutorial.
Oh, no.
And then gave me the account and the password and said, here you go. So then I go home, and I convinced Mom to let me use the computer internet to play the game at least once, and then immediately change the password.
Yep.
And then, so I'm in this world. I'm in this little town called Lumbridge, and I was like, I don't know what to do, because he literally did the tutorial for me.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yes, especially as much as it's a little tedious the second time you do it, but the first time you do it, it teaches you the basic mechanics.
Yeah, it teaches you how to play the damn game. But the whole time I'm clicking around trying to figure stuff out, and of course I'm a noob, so I had no idea what to do. I got tricked by multiple people into giving them things, and it was dumb.
No.
That's also where my old screen name came from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of, that's one of the reasons why I moved away from it, but my old screen name of Frogsrule24 came from RuneScape.
Ah.
And the whole reason I moved away from it was because I didn't create it. So yeah. So that's the story of how I got into RuneScape. And by 2007 we had internet access, and then I started
Yes.
playing like full time after that.
Yep.
And that's how you discovered the game, I'm assuming.
Yes. Well, I discovered it through you. And I think the main reason I played it was like other things. I saw you doing it and I was like, I want to do that too. Which was like most of our things. Like when you got a Game Boy, I got a Game Boy or something. Like when you got
True.
a Switch, I got a Switch. You know, that's just how it always works. Like I always see it, I'm like, I want to play that too. So I think that's what happened. But I also think it also had to do with your former associate, because he wanted like us to all dress up.
Well,
the same.
we'll save that for a bit, because I want to get back to that.
But I think that's partially the reason why. Is also because your former associate wanted me to join something at some point.
He wanted a bunch of people, but the other key reason I believe that got you interested was it was 100% free, to a degree.
True, to a degree.
Especially in like especially around 2006 to 7, which is considered the peak of RuneScape. A lot of people say.
Yep.
But yeah. So backpedaling a little bit now. So once I got full internet access and I was able to play like regularly, then so this former associate, he also got another one of my former associates into the game, and he basically used me and this other guy as his in-game like test dummies for things.
Oh boy.
Like he would, like, because he was significantly stronger than us at the time, which is funny because at the time he was like level like maybe 60 something.
Oh, okay.
We were like level 5, 10 or whatever noobs who just started playing, and he bossed us around because he had better items and everything.
Yep.
And he kind of tried to control how we played the game. Because it was so annoying because it was his game and he only brought us in for assistance.
Yeah.
Than to have more people to play with.
Yeah.
But he also didn't want us to get stronger than him.
Yeah.
In that typical kind of way.
Yep, in that typical.
Yeah. And then, so here is another part of the early day of RuneScape, which was something else that I wanted to bring up.
Yep.
So, obviously, early 2000s, high school, more middle school than high school, but kids are shit.
Yep.
And if you say you play RuneScape, you're going to get made fun of.
Yep.
Here's the thing, though. Everybody played it.
Oh, yeah.
Even the people, the bullies.
Even, like, the
popular
all played kids, they were playing it. Because it was the thing at the time. It was the
You just didn't admit it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most annoying... So, the former associate of mine, the most annoying thing, he was so worried about his reputation and image in the school that if you said RuneScape, he'd get like, you can't... This was his exact quote. He's like, you don't talk about the game in school. And yeah, he was that stupid about it.
You don't talk about your game in school.
That's how he said it. He wouldn't say RuneScape.
Fucking dweeb.
Oh yeah. So, me being the smartass I was, I would so dramatically every time always refer to it as the game.
The game.
To be as obnoxious as fuck.
I feel like that just makes it more suspicious. Like, I feel like if you just were talking about it, like, people would be like, oh, and not give a shit.
Well, no, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When I was with him, I'd refer to it as the game really dramatically. When I was with anyone else, RuneScape, I didn't give a shit. I was like, yeah, I play RuneScape. I would look the bullies dead in the face. I'm like, you play it too. You're just being a bitch, and I'd walk away.
Yeah.
Because, newsflash to people, if you don't give a shit what a bully says, it ruins their day.
Yeah. Well, because in the end, like, they're getting...
They're more insecure than you are.
Well, they only get pleasure out of it if you let them, you know. So
yeah,
you're exactly
and they don't
right.
like being called. They don't like being called a bitch to their face. And what are they gonna do in front of teachers?
Yeah, nothing.
So, yeah, but he was so annoying about that. Like, never would let you talk. He'd be like, "You can't talk about the game."
The game.
like, dude, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted to say to us, just like, everybody knows you play RuneScape. You're not hiding it from anybody.
No. It's also, I'm like, it's just dumb. So dumb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and so, now this is around where you got into the game.
Yep.
And so, because he was so much more ahead than us and we were very naive, he would make up things in the game and say, like, certain things that were going on. And we just kind of buy it because we didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah.
So, he wanted to start... So, this is around where you started playing. He wanted to start a RuneScape gang, as they say.
Gang.
And this is before clans were a thing.
Yeah.
So, his whole idea was we'd all dress up as monks and just walk around the game in monk robes.
Yeah.
Because, we're cool.
Yeah, we matched
there's...
monk robes.
And the best part was me and the other associate were just smartasses, and we'd always, like, not be exactly to, like, his standards, so we'd have something wrong.
Yeah.
And he'd get so pissed, and this is before Skype. So the best part is we were all either... We'd have... this was before Skype and laptops, so we'd all be on phone calls.
Yep.
And this is early cell phones, too, so we didn't even have, like, texting or anything, so we were on long-distance, like, three-way phone calls to play. So you'd be playing RuneScape with the phone to your ear, just killing, like, minutes, if you still had minutes. I think we had unlimited calls, but we couldn't text. That was our thing.
Yeah. I think we didn't get texting until we got our ones that, like, flip. They were the Envies, I think they were.
The ones with keyboards that had keyboards.
We didn't get to text until those, so.
Yeah.
And you and your green abomination.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah,
your
that
green
thing.
abomination.
We should do a podcast on cell phones at some point, but
that would be funny.
But anyways, so that was like, it was like so stupid. Like, he'd have us dress up as monks. He'd have us like, he wanted everyone to have like code names. You'd talk over the thing, like. He wouldn't. Yeah. He like had rules that you couldn't go to like do certain quests, like until he gave approval. It was so stupid.
I remember I would hang out, like I'd walk around with you, and then I'd just be like, "This sucks, bye." I'd just like go off and do my own thing. I would just wander out because I wasn't putting up, especially because like he's having us put on this stupid monk robes, and it's like they do absolutely like there's no like. I'm putting on my armor that I crafted. Leave me alone.
It was even dumber. It was monk robes, and we all had to have like brown like hair. Yeah, it was so weird. Brown or black hair. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was so weird.
It's like he was trying to start a cult or something.
He was cult.
Probably.
I could see him joining a cult.
He probably is.
I could just really
I don't want to
see
get into that.
I don't know. Like,
But,
like, you know, some people, they just have the vibe of just like, you know, I could see you in a cult, you know? Like, maybe it's you too well.
Maybe a little. Maybe a little.
There's some people where I'm just like, you seem culty to me.
Yeah. All right. But we're gonna get into more stories in a bit, but first we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
To join a cult.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, RuneScape's kind of a cult.
Yeah. But not that cult.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. And we're back.
We're back. And we decided we're not going to join a cult. We're going to start a cult.
Yeah, the RuneScape cult.
No. It's just a cult.
Oh, the GNC cult, yes.
Yes, the GNC cult. We're a cult. Join our cult.
Anime and games.
You have to watch a certain amount of anime each week or you can't join.
Maybe collecting.
No.
And you have to be chaos.
Yes.
All right, but anyways, so back to RuneScape now. So we all know like the classic noob traps, like the old doubling money. I may have fell for that one once.
Whoops! I think I did too when I first played.
So if anyone doesn't know, doubling money is the whole. Someone will be like doubling money, and they'll trick someone into being like, you give them one coin, they get two back or something, and they trick you into giving all your money, and then they don't give it back.
Yeah, they just run away.
Yeah, or they log out or something. Yep. There's that. There's other things like being lured into the wilderness, all sorts of different like scams and stuff. Yeah, so RuneScape was like a haven for easily tricking people and like other things.
Well, and at the time too, like with the current RuneScape, like your money goes into a pouch, but at that time, like if you died, all your money basically, if you were carrying money, it basically was up for grabs, and you
whoever saw it first, it's theirs pretty much.
Yep.
But along with all your items that you worked very hard to get. There was no like tombstones or Grim Reaper or options to save all your items.
Nope, it was just like, sucks. Maybe you'll make it back in time, but probably not.
No, you died in RuneScape. You lost all but your 3 most valuable.
Yep.
Maybe a 4th if you had enough prayer. But, so, going back to a former associate, another famous, like, lie that he always had, and this one was my favorite because of how stupid it was. So the first time I actually, like, ran into him, because I hadn't actually, like, encountered his character until, like, maybe, like, 4 months into playing. I'd always known because I'd seen him a few times. Like, he'd pop up in your friends chat because you'd have, like, friend logged in. And there was a little, you could do, like, private, like, friend chats. But, yeah, so one thing I noticed, like, when I first actually encountered him is, like, he was a female in-game.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember that.
No, he had switched back by the time you had discovered him. This was around when I was still playing. And rather than, you know, the obvious reason why he was a female, which was obviously he just wanted to play as a female. Because, I mean, I'm not judging, do what you want, but...
Yeah.
At the time, he got super defensive, and he made up this elaborate story that because he had gotten so wealthy in game, he had been transformed into a female by something in the game. And he made this story up. And the only way to get changed back without losing his wealth was he had to defeat a dragon. Which I found out later on, he was just doing the Dragon Slayer quest, and he just wanted he used it as a bullshit excuse as to why he was a girl.
Oh.
So he made up this elaborate bullshit excuse, and I was like, as a naive kid, I was like, okay, that's weird.
Wow. Yeah,
I was like, why would they program that in the game? That's dumb.
Yep.
And then I discovered the makeover mage, and I was like, that son of a bitch, he just changed into a girl.
Yeah, he just tricked me. What a jerk.
Because I didn't know, because eventually I made it to that part of the world. I made it to Faldor, and I found the makeover mage's house, and I was like, oh, what's this guy doing? And it was like 3,000 coins, and you can change your character appearance. I was like, sure.
Woo!
And then I clicked on it, and it was all of a sudden like, oh, you can change your gender too. And then it hit me. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
It's like, he just wanted to be a girl.
Yep.
In game. And I mean, it's like, whatever, do what you want. But I was like, you didn't need to make an excuse.
Yeah, you could just tell me, you know, I won't judge.
And then by the time I got to doing Dragon Slayer, I was like, wait a minute. Hold the phone here. He made that whole thing up. I was like, what the hell?
Yep.
So do you have any other early memories from, like, this time in RuneScape?
Well, I remember, like, when I would just, like, run off on myself, I would just, like, try and figure out the game, but not really know what's going on, because, like, also at the time, like, you weren't as, like, not that you weren't helpful, but at the time, it's not like you wanted to help your sister all the time with the game, you wanted to actually play it, so I had to do a lot more troubles.
I did 4 quests for you, and then I was like, Alec, I'm not doing any more quests. Figure it out on your
own. So I kind of...
Although I did use you to my advantage at one point to do the Shield of Arak quest, because that quest required 2 players. And I was like, okay, Alex, I'll do a quest for you. This one we do together.
You jerk.
And you were like, okay.
Okay, thanks.
So that's how it's funny, because nowadays you can actually do Shield of Ara with one by yourself.
Yep.
They made it optional to have to do the friend encounter, because as cool as it was actually requiring you to, like, find friends to do the quest, it's surprisingly not the easiest thing in the world to do.
No, I mean, like, the thing is like, I feel like not not as much nowadays, but there was good periods of times where, like, if you were the kid playing video games, you weren't the kid who had a ton of friends, you know? So it's
Yeah.
not like you had people you could just go to like, play the game with,
Or,
so...
or your quote-unquote friends were actually secretly assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know it, but I saw through them, and that's why I constantly ran away and just did whatever the heck I wanted.
Well, I did a lot of stuff on my own, too. So, like, eventually moving down the line, like, I mean, getting back to, I guess, the whole, like, multiple friends quest thing, there's actually a members quest later on, like, getting into, like, into membership time now. There's a quest way later down the line called the Heroes Quest.
Yep.
Which initially also required you needed to have a second player to complete.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why I only finished the Heroes Quest, like, last year was because I couldn't do it with a friend. And when they finally got rid of the friend requirement, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this now. And I finished in, like, a day. It was so easy.
I laugh probably thinking about how many people, like, did that quest at once after you didn't have to have a friend. Like, I just, I wonder how many, because I feel like it was probably a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and by that point, I kind of, like, had broken off and started, like, just doing quests on my own. And I remember... So this has kind of become, like, a shit on my former associate podcast in a ways, but in a lot of ways, he kind of deserves it.
He definitely deserves it.
I remember... So there's a quest, a member's quest that's kind of experienced later down the line called the Lost City. Mm-hmm. And what makes it so difficult is there's a part in the quest where you have to defeat a tree spirit.
Yep.
That's very strong, especially if you're like a lower level. And what makes it hard is you can't use it's found on an island called Eternia, I think it's called. But the thing about Eternia is or in Trana or something, you can't bring any armor or weapons on the island. So you have to do the quest without any armor or weapons.
Yep.
Now, if you want to be creative, you can, if your crafting level is high enough, you can theoretically make some ranging equipment.
Yep.
To beat the quest. But I did not have a high enough fletching or crafting at the time.
No.
So I discussed, like many people, I consulted this wonderful website at the time called RuneHQ.
Nice.
Which is still around, but it's kind of obsolete now because there's the RuneScape wiki.
Yeah.
But RuneHQ at the time had quest guides for like every quest. And I'm not ashamed to admit I use quest guides every now and then if I need help.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I looked up the quest guide. I'm like, how do you do this? I can't figure it out.
I need help.
The quest guide tipped me off to a cheesing method of... So there is because of how RuneScape's AI used to be programmed, there is a mushroom on the ground in the arena where you fight the tree spirit. Yep. That if you position yourself just right, the tree spirit gets stuck behind the mushroom. And then you can just use magic attacks and defeat it that way.
Oh.
And it can't hurt you at all. So I did that. I hid behind the mushrooms and just used like magic attacks on it until it died. Because you could bring runes on the island. That was like the one thing you could do. Mm-hmm. And honestly, in my opinion, that's probably one of the designed ways to beat the quest, in my opinion.
Yep.
But yeah. So when he found out I cheesed it, he got so pissed. He's like, you cheated. He's like, I don't believe you actually beat that quest. And I'm like, well, I spammed him screenshots of me in a Xanaris, the area that you unlock after you beat that quest. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm here, so fuck you.
Yeah, I'm here right now. Yeah.
And he got so pissed off about that, and he like would like, because he did it the hard way, and he got so mad. I was like, yeah, I thought smarter and used a guide. So screw you.
I thought smarter. I didn't work harder. I thought smarter. You should have done the same.
I didn't have hours to train at that point.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were in lockdown and I had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and then he would like question every quest I did from there on in, because after that, because he was so bitter.
My God.
Like another one. There's a quest called the Grand Tree, and its final encounter is you have to beat this like black demon. Mm-hmm. And I legit did that on my own, and I was like really underleveled at the time
Yep.
when I did it. And he refused to believe that I did it on my own. He was like, "You didn't do it on your own." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. It's green.
Yeah.
The quest is green. Says complete. I did it."
Yeah. You want a screenshot?
And by this point, I was becoming so independent that he was kind of tired of me in the game, so he didn't really
Yeah.
want me around anymore for like RuneScape related things.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was so bad. Oh, and also he had quit RuneScape about 4 times by this point.
Oh, okay.
So I guess another thing I want to get into with RuneScape is people quit RuneScape on like a daily basis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I always consider RuneScape's like a. I don't want to say it's like an addiction. I want to call it like it's an old friend that you don't. That every now and then you don't see each other for a long time, but then eventually you meet up again, and it's like the best of times for a while.
You come crawling back.
And then you take another break,
Yep.
and then eventually you meet up again.
Yep.
That's how I kind of see RuneScape, because that's how it's been for me for the most part.
No, I
But
think that's
he
pretty.
had
I
gone
mean,
on-
that's what I'm going through right now. I'm kind of reliving
Yeah,
my RuneScape
but you had
days.
to start from scratch.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it was fine though.
Well,
It
I mean,
was kinda-
actually learning how to play. So,
Yeah, I'm not just like fucking around in it. Like I'm actually like kind of figuring out how to do it. So
Yeah.
like eventually I'll be independent.
Yeah, but so there was like stuff like that, and then I always remember too. It was like he would like get melodramatic and be all like, "I'm done with RuneScape. I'm gonna sell my account on eBay." I'm like, "Sure you
Cool.
are." I'm like, "Yeah, that's illegal.
You
I can
do that.
I'll go report your account if you do that." So, but yeah, he used to like constantly be all like, "I'm never gonna play RuneScape again."
Never gonna play a game. He
Oh, and
just
then-
wanted attention.
Yeah,
That's all he
probably.
wanted. He just
Probably.
wanted attention.
I always remember too, like there was so many encounters where like you'd meet people online who you thought were really nice, and then they turned out to be dicks.
Oh yeah,
Because
like,
that's what online is like.
yeah. We just constantly run into that. You think someone's nice, but they
Yeah,
ain't.
that's why it's so hard to meet people. But God, I still remember like, so starting around 2007 was like one of like probably the coolest periods, because the game was so full of life at that time.
Yeah. There's so
Like-
many players compared to
Oh, yeah.
how many there is now. Like so many.
It was insane how many players there were at that point. But yeah, so you'd constantly be going around places, like people would like, this is back when like classic like, oh, and the game was so full of bots too, it wasn't even funny.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of bots.
Oh, here's
And
another
it's funny how the games had to like adapt to work around those bots
Oh yeah.
too.
So
Like-
I guess talking about bots a bit, the games, they've done a lot of things like to program getting around bots, and one of their key things was So one of their key things was random events, which became kind of a staple of RuneScape at this point, where like just like you'd get like a random thing would happen, or sometimes it would be misfortunate, other times it would be like kind of like a little mini game, and they'd appear. I remember your first encounter with the sandwich lady.
Oh yeah, the sandwich.
And you didn't know what to do, so you just ignored her, and then she teleported you away.
And I was like, oh, what do I do?
And I was like, "Where are you?" And you're like, "I don't know."
I'm lost. Help.
So that I'm like searching for. I had to go run downstairs because you were using a different computer at the time,
Yep.
and I had to go like be like, "All right, where are you?" I had to look on the map. I was like, "Okay, there you are," and I had to go run back upstairs. I was like, "Okay, she's right there."
I found her.
But I remember that. But yeah, there was bots everywhere, and I always remember too because they always had the default like RuneScape like skin, like they didn't change anything, and they just cut trees, run to bank, cut trees, run to bank, cut trees, run to bank.
Yep.
And it's like, I was always like, damn, that's weird, because I didn't really know what bots were at the time.
Yeah, you were just like, that's kind of weird. Anyways.
And then my associate, he would call them auto cuts. That was his like name for them.
auto cuts.
Auto. Well, 'cause that's-
Autobots.
well, because that's what they do. They just cut wood and then put it away and cut wood.
I guess that makes sense.
But he started using it as like an insult to people. He'd start calling them like, "You're an auto cut." I'm like, damn, that doesn't even make sense.
That
Shit,
doesn't-
I used. Moving on.
Womp womp.
Well, regardless.
You can censor it with like the fart noise.
No, I didn't say his last name. But
it's a common name.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But anyways, moving forward, I was always like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time, like, my internet was laggy, and like I kept like missing what they were saying on the chat.
Yep.
And he was all like, "You're being an autocut," and then I was like, "What?" I'm like, "I don't get what that means." And then we hung out in real life later, and they started calling me an autocut in real life. I'm like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, what does that mean? Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm a bot? Like, what does that mean?
Like, cool, I guess. Thanks. Such a weird, weird.
See, this is like how much time, like, so like after I started playing RuneScape full time, it's like you'd found out how many people in reality actually played, because like then like my friends list on RuneScape was all people I knew, because I actually had a friends list of people I knew like from around.
Yep.
And some people were really like bitchy about RuneScape, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, some people are very particular about their RuneScape opinions. And it's like, okay, calm down, buddy.
Oh, yeah, like, you oh, yeah, like, so, I guess, like, so this podcast is a little random, but the whole point is this is about early days and stuff, and, like, the earliest memories.
Yep.
Like, so another early thing, like, one of my favorite memories from RuneScape was discovering the Stronghold of Security.
Oh.
And nowadays, it's not nearly as entertaining as it used to be. But back in, like, old school, like, RuneScape, like, 2007 era, the Stronghold of Security was, like, one of the funnest, like, dungeons to explore. Because the whole gimmick was, it was a dungeon based around account security.
Yeah.
And it basically, you had to do trivia questions going between doors that would ask you about your account security to proceed.
Yep.
And it was a 4-level dungeon. And it had a bunch of, like, strong enemies to fight. It was a great place to grind as a noob.
Yep.
But, the final reward for getting through all the floors was you would find the Cradle of Life. And in the Cradle of Life, you got a pair of 2 pairs of boots. The fancy boots and the warrior boots. And, I remember I picked the rainbow boots because everybody had the fancy rainbow boots at the time.
Yeah. People still have them to this day.
Yeah, they do. The only reason, I mean, honestly, I kind of want to go back. I currently have the war, because you could only have one. I currently have the warrior boots. I kind of want to run back down there and switch them out for the fancy boots again, just to have. I kind of want to make them an override and just have them again.
That'd be fun.
But one of the reasons I switched to the warrior boots is because I actually he ended up. This was one of the more dicky things he ever did.
Oh.
And pardon my thing. I don't mean any offense by this, but he literally said, "You look gay with those," and I was like, I got really like upset. I was like,
"Aww."
I was like, okay. So I switched out to the warrior ones. Like nowadays, I'd have thicker. Like I had thick skin on a lot of things. Some things I was kind of like, like that kind of hurt.
Yeah, you were young, and like that was mean. And
yeah, that was mean on a lot. That was mean on a lot of levels.
No, yeah, and especially
back then too, it wasn't exactly what the connotations weren't as strong. Nowadays, that'd be really offensive. Back then, it was kind of like, yeah, it was like that's
back
just
then.
mean.
It was kind of just a common bullying.
Well, it was like the
term.
R word. It just
like,
you said it, and it was like.
And it's unfortunate that we said it back then, like that people said it, but thankfully, the decent people no longer say terms like that.
Yeah.
But still, it was pretty that's pretty mean to say to someone.
I know it was.
Well, honestly, I think he was just jealous because you were much better than him at RuneScape.
Well, no, at the time he was still much better than me.
Well, you were doing well without his help, and he was like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah. I got way more into it than he expected, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was mad because I think he got mad because RuneScape was his game, and we basically all got into it, and then it was no longer just his game.
It was no longer his character arc.
Even though newsflash, everybody was playing it. But that was one of like the earliest moments where I had actually. That was one of the first real chips in that relationship.
Yeah. That was like one of the first cracks to the shattering of the friendship.
if you want to call it that. But
The former friendship.
yeah.
The whatever it was.
I always remember that too. Honestly, tomorrow, when we play tomorrow, I'm going down and I'm getting the fancy boots back. I'm doing
Getting
it.
the fancy boots.
Yeah.
I support it, you know?
I'm going to make them an override.
I'll support you from the sidelines.
Okay.
You put on your fancy boots and you be happy about it. Because
honestly,
you deserve...
if you're strong enough, I might bring you down and we can go get you a pair too if you want.
Sure. I may die, but who
So,
knows?
you're strong enough that you should be able to. You won't be able to fight the enemies, but you should be able to like run through and kind of beast your way through it. That's how that's how I got through the stronghold of security the first time. I just got.
Through it.
I mean, if you run fast enough and you have enough food, you can make it through easily.
Okay.
And I mean, you're not like you're in like almost to like level 40, so.
Yeah, I think so. I'm like trying to remember.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Well, I've been trying to balance out my skills, you know.
Yeah.
Because there's other skills to balance.
But so going back to that, I always remember too, like, because I didn't get membership until I started playing late 2006. I didn't get membership until mid 2008, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, getting membership was not the easiest thing in the world because you had to either use a credit card, which we didn't have the option of. Or the way we did it was we had to called on the phone, like a phone hotline. It was so early
weird.
2000s. Early 2000s. And I'd only get like a month at a time.
Yeah.
So before getting to membership, I remember like I never had any qualms those first couple of years, like because there's a lot of free player content from the get-go. Nowadays it seems so small. Well, actually, there's honestly even more now than there was then. But
oh yeah.
I remember like I worked super hard. I finished every single free quest I could until I got to Dragon Slayer, and Dragon Slayer was rough to say the least. Like that one took me so long to finally get down. And I still remember too. I was actually on a Skype call at the time because this was around when Skype first became a thing. With not former associate number 1, but the other former associate who
former associate number 2,
who wasn't as much of a dick at the time.
Yeah.
And we were playing, and I remember I was like, I'm gonna do Dragon Slayer. I'm finally gonna fucking beat the dragon.
I'm gonna do it.
So we were chatting on the phone, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like the health is almost gone, and she got to like almost like depleted to health, and all of a sudden I got to like dangerously low, and I ran out of food, so I ran behind a rock and hid like a bitch and waited for it to my health bar to like kind of regrow a bit.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then I just ran in and one shot at the final hit, and I was like, I did it. Yes, I did it. And it was like
champion.
I felt so fulfilled finally beating that quest and then getting that rune plate body and being like, I finally made it.
I did it.
Because this was before like overrides were a thing and everyone had like actual like equipment that you'd find in game.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why I don't use a lot of overrides, because I prefer the in-game equipment look to a degree.
Yeah.
But I remember feeling so proud having that rune plate body, and then I died in the wilderness and lost it.
No.
And then I had to go buy another one.
Tragic.
I had to grind for like days to buy another one.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. So I guess going back to you, what are some more memories you remember?
I don't know. A lot of it was like, I don't know why, but like I would just fight goblins, even though like I was way more leveled up than them. I would just keep fighting them. I'd just be like, yeah, this is definitely helping me fighting these level 2 goblins when I'm like level 40 or something.
I remember there was a point where like you were going through your like anti-feminine phase for a while. Yep. Where you were like wanted to be super independent, and you were like, I'm sick of these plate skirts. I want plate legs. And I'm like, okay, you can wear the plate legs. There's nothing stopping you.
Yep.
And you were like, oh really? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I'll show you where the store is. I remember that one. I was like so confused at the time because we were only like I must have been like 14. You were 13 at the time.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I was like, "All right, whatever you want, Alex. I don't care.
Whatever you want to do." I remember I would just like kind of do what I do now and just be chaotic and run around. Well, I don't know. Maybe I feel like I was probably the same way I play now, where I just have the urge to kill anything I see that is lower level.
You were that, but you were a lot more like you didn't follow like procedure. Like now, at least you're like have like some sort of idea what you're doing. Then you just ran around, like did whatever.
Just ran around, did whatever.
Like you'd only ever leave Lumbridge if like I brought you somewhere else, because you would never leave Lumbridge.
I never left. I would literally fight the goblins in that one section of town, and then just run around.
And then you'd occasionally go over to the swamp and kill rats.
Yeah,
or mine something. I always remember that.
I was the worst. I was the worst RuneScape player.
And then your steel armor.
My steel. I don't think I ever got. I don't know.
You never had Mithril. I remember that because I couldn't easily make it for you at the time. So you were like, "How do I get Mithril?" I'm like, "You gotta buy it." You're like, "It's too expensive." I'm like, "Sorry."
I think I got black armor. I think.
Oh, you might have had black armor. That might have been.
I think I got black armor. But other than that, I think that was the highest I got, and then like, I just stopped playing, and then I could never recover my account.
You stopped playing before you right?
Yeah, I was choking.
So you stopped playing before RuneScape HD became a thing. Which, for people who don't know, RuneScape HD was just RuneScape 2, but they updated the graphics to like high definition.
Yep.
But you stopped playing before RuneScape HD, so your account probably got wiped.
Most likely, yeah.
I never deleted you from my friends list, and it's not in my friends list anymore. So.
Womp womp womp.
There was a generic account that was a bunch of random numbers, so I might assume that's probably what happened to it. They just swiped like.
That's probably it. Yeah, especially because like my email, I changed my email too. Like I was originally my email used to be ducklover229, and I think my RuneScape name is quack29.
Quack72.
Oh, quack72. That's it.
Yeah.
What a good name. What some good names. Wow. Yeah, so obviously, like, I was very talented with naming.
Well, Alex, we were literally Quack72 and Frogs Rule 24.
We were quite the pair, honestly.
I was only that because I liked frogs, and my favorite NASCAR driver at the time was Jeff Gordon.
24. I think that's why it was Quack72, because wasn't that Dale's,
No, the Dale was... Which Dale?
Dale Jr.
No, he was 88.
Oh, shit. Well, actually, I don't know why I picked 72.
At that point, he was still in the 8.
Yep.
I don't know why you picked Quack 72.
Maybe it just rolled off the tongue.
Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe 29 wasn't available.
I feel like that's probably it, honestly.
Yeah. I think you just picked the first number you saw that was available.
Yeah, I think, actually, now that I think about it, I think that's exactly what happened. I wanted 29, but it wasn't there, so the next one was 72, so I was like, I'm quick, 72.
Yeah.
Good times.
I always remember that. And then, so I guess, going back to where I was, so after I finished Dragon Slayer, then it kind of became, then I kind of hit that point where I was like, so what do I do now? And I remember it's because I didn't have a membership at the time. And by this point, both former associates got membership. But I didn't. Yep. And they were gloating. They were gloating so hard about it. And I was like...
What jerk faces.
Well, one was more than the other. The other one was kind of just explaining what was happening. The other one was gloating about it, though. And I was like...
Yeah.
I was like, alright. So eventually I convinced Mom to get 1 month. So I got 1 month of membership. And I remember, too, like, the most exciting thing ever was finally going through that gate from, right above Faldor to Tal'Vari,
Yeah.
the Birthorp area. Because I remember going in there and I'd be like, I finally did it. And then nowadays that's a free area.
Yep. Womp,
But
womp.
that was like the coolest thing, just seeing the members' areas. I remember they still exist, but they're not as popular as they used to be. There was a thing called the team capes from the wilderness,
Yep.
and they were like these cool like multicolored capes that you could get that like had these different patterns. And I remember
Oh, that's
getting
cool.
like I remember getting one of those because they were just so cool at the time. And the cool thing about the team capes is anyone else with the same cape as you would have like would appear as a blue dot on the screen rather than a white dot, which was kind of cool. Completely useless nowadays, but I have a couple of them I saved still. But I remember I did that, and then the first quest I remember doing was Gertrude's cat because I really wanted a cat.
Yep.
And I remember I got my first cat, and
Yep.
I lost it because I died.
Aww.
Because I was exploring members areas and I wandered too far onto Karamja, the island, and I got poisoned.
Yep.
I got poisoned and I died.
Oh no.
And I lost my cat.
That's so tragic.
And because of that, I was actually afraid to visit Karamja for like the longest time.
Aww. Yeah.
Now it's like I don't care. I just run around Karamja all the time. But yeah, that actually like scarred me a little. I was like, because that was my first encounter
My
with.
cat.
Yeah, that was my first encounter with poisoning in the game because poisoning was at the time like a members only thing.
Yeah.
And then I kind of started just slowly picking off like different quests because I wanted to explore all the different areas.
Yep.
I remember I really wanted to go to like Tarnanu, I think it's called, or Tirano or whatever, the elf
Yep.
continent, which is way on the other side of the map. And then I found
Yep.
out like exploring that I was like, oh, you have to beat like 5 different quests to get there, and I'm like, yeah,
Womp,
I'm not gonna get there anytime soon.
Yep.
I finally made it in 2020.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. I just remember like the whole world kind of became like so open, and it was like, wow, this is like the true potential. And this is back when like you only had to pay for membership.
True
There was no
potential
addition.
of RuneScape. No.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm just goofing.
it's been so
Hello?
fun too. It's like the game's evolved considerably. Like I remember like getting when it first turned HD, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like the game looks so much better, but it's still RuneScape, the RuneScape 2 we all know and love.
Yeah.
And then 2013 hits, and we get RuneScape 3. And I remember for the longest time, RuneScape 3 was like this like myth that like everyone would always like mention like jokingly like, oh, RuneScape 3 is coming. I'm always like, there's no RuneScape 3. That's like a fool's tale. And then it finally actually happened.
Yep. Also, when at this point, I was not playing RuneScape.
No,
at
you had
all.
completely fallen off at this point.
I believe I also was getting more and more into dance though at the
Yeah.
time. So I was.
So, my initial RuneScape run, I want to say, was from late 2006 till 2013 was when it officially, the first break happened. And I always remember we got to RuneScape 3, and then the game changed so much.
Yep.
Like, they changed the combat up, and I remember I was super purist, like, I don't want change at the time.
Yep.
So I didn't like the new combat. I didn't like what they did to change everything up, and I kind of was like, I don't feel like playing anymore. And that was
Yeah.
kind of the point, the first real fall off. I remember, and I progressively after that, I'd kind of pop in every now and then. Like I had a good amount of quests done. Like I think I was like level 80 around the time I had stopped playing. Because I remember like. I'm trying to think back, like, some of, like, the more crazy, like, RuneScape nights I had. Because, like, you know, rather than doing homework, a lot of the time I was playing RuneScape, because...
You were playing RuneScape. Understandable, honestly.
Homework's stupid, so... Anyways, moving on. would play
I will agree, sometimes the homework teachers would give you would be really stupid. If it's not practical, like, or helpful, there's no point in assigning busy work to kids.
So
Yeah.
Alex, my reasoning for why I believe homework is stupid is I managed to pass senior year of high school, never doing homework once and bullshitting it like 10 minutes before class started.
Yeah.
And I managed to pass every time, so. But
Yeah.
anyway, so a lot of times I'd be playing RuneScape or something. And I remember one of my craziest RuneScape nights I ever did was I finally got strong enough to the point where I could equip a. Well, I beat the Lost City quest, and that was how you could get the Dragon Longsword, because Dragon equipment was like the coolest thing ever at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was like the first real members equipment above Rune, and I was like, I want that so bad.
Yep.
So, there was a mini game at the time called Pest Control, and this is back when Pest Control was like lit, like people were like always there.
Yep.
And Pest Control, you'd get experience from, obviously, because it was a safe mini game, and you could like, if you died, you didn't lose anything. So you'd you'd get experience though, and you'd build up levels. And I needed like 10 levels to be able to wield the Dragon Longsword that I wanted so bad. And
Yep.
but I also needed the money to afford it. And by beating Pest Control, you would get money payouts every time you play. So this is one of the most insane gamer things I've ever done in my life. I started
Yep.
playing Pest Control around noon. So this was during this was in high school sophomore year.
Yep.
It was warm out, so I want to say it was spring break. And I remember it was like mid spring break. I think it was the Wednesday of spring break. I started playing Pest Control around noon that day, and I didn't stop until 4 in the morning the next day.
Yep.
So like literally like
Jesus.
almost half, more than half a day playing RuneScape essentially.
Oh my god.
And I remember too, because there was people who like were playing when I first started, and they came back towards the end, and they were like, "You're still here?"
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I played until I got the level and I got the Dragon Longsword, and after that I went to sleep, and I slept through most of Thursday.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
So
that's
funny.
a proud mom moment right there.
I'm sure she'd be proud.
Well, I remember I was playing, and I had like a YouTube, because sophomore year we had. What phones did we have sophomore year at that point?
I believe we had like Samsungs.
Yeah, and they could play YouTube videos.
I believe so. Yes.
So I had the phone playing YouTube videos in the corner, and I was watching those while playing Pest Control. That's just what I did the entire night. Like, it was nuts.
Yep.
But I did it, and that was like one of my craziest I still have that Dragon Longsword to this day too. Like, it's completely useless to me now, but I'll never get rid of it.
No, it's like a a memory.
Oh, I still have. I never get rid. I'm a pack rat in RuneScape. Like, I don't get rid of anything. Like, I still have the freaking amulet of accuracy that you get
Yep.
for doing one of the like one of the earliest free quests. That's completely useless. But
Yep.
I still have that. I have a ton of stuff. Like, God, I still remember though. Like, once the RuneScape 3 launched, I kind of fell off for a while. Like, because that's the point where the game was getting super like in-game purchasey, which nowadays I don't
Yeah.
care about. I'm like, whatever, play the game the way you want to play it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
that
at
was
the
kind of
time, it was different.
yeah. that was where the final like that was where the final like kind of like the first real break happened.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of play on and off, because the problem is what would happen was you'd run out of, because this was before I had a full-time job where I could have money all the time. So once your membership ran out, because once you go membership, it's so hard to go back to just the free world.
Oh yeah.
So if I lost the membership, I wouldn't want to play, because it's like, what am I going to do in a free world?
Yeah.
So I kind of went on and off for a while until finally, I guess we'll cut off here, because I guess the next point was around 2020 when I fully got back into it.
Yep.
Because I went through a break period from 2013 to 2020, but I played on and off at random intervals between then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, RuneScape was an experience at the time, I guess we can say.
Most definitely.
And it's crazy too because like I've had the same account. It has a different name now. I changed the name. I'm not Froggerl24 anymore. But
Aww. Womp womp.
well, I've completely moved away. I've moved away from that whole screen name and branding for a long time.
Yeah.
But,
No, I'm just joking.
To anyone who listens on the YouTube channel, that's why our YouTube URL is still youtube.com/ like Froggerl24 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've moved away from that. But that account has been ongoing since late 2006, and that's one of the reasons why, like, when old school RuneScape became a thing, I didn't get into old school RuneScape because I didn't want to start over.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah, I've had that account for so long. It's just kind of like it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
I really
No,
wish
I mean, you put a lot of work into it, so I don't blame you.
So many memories too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I wish I lost it. I used to have a hard drive that had all these old like pictures and stuff on it.
Aww.
And in one of the hard drives, it had all these old RuneScape screenshots, which I wish I still had because they were flippin' amazing.
Yeah.
Like, just so many stupid screenshots.
Mm.
It was from a different time, but dang, it was cool.
Mwah.
Well, yeah, I think we'll cut off our early years talk. And I guess the next one we'll start talking about the return to
The
RuneScape.
return.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally getting back into it after so many years.
Yep.
RuneScape, the return.
The return. The last RuneScape Jedi.
Yeah.
That made sense. No, it didn't.
It was close enough. But, yeah, so that was fun. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the part 2. We're probably going to take a couple weeks, probably a month before we get to the next one.
Yeah, because we
do
still
a few
got
other
quite a
things.
bit of more playing for me to do, too.
Yeah, we're going to, I mean,
we'll
who
be
knows
playing
how...
tomorrow.
Who knows how long this whole experiment's going to go? I mean, this might be a recurring thing from the rest of this season into next, for all we know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Who knows? Woo!
But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We've honestly been looking forward to this one for a while.
Yeah,
And-
we've been hyping it up for a while. Or we've at least been saying we're going to do it eventually, so
Yeah.
we finally did it.
I hope it gets well received, because I'm a little curious, because this first part was very, very cathartic in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but also not quite probably what I think I originally intended a RuneScape podcast to be.
It was probably a little therapeutic for you.
Yeah,
you know,
a little. I mean,
Talk about how much that guy was just a butthead.
you know what's funny? I'm very tempted. So it's not super well known, but I had a previous podcast before this one, like back in 2013, actually, right around when we stopped playing RuneScape. But
Yep.
it was actually with those two former associates,
Oh.
and we did it for like 7 episodes right after we graduated high school and they went to college. I didn't, but
Yep.
I only posted 5 of them. They're still up on the YouTube channel. If anyone is that curious, I wouldn't bother. It's extremely cringe.
Ooh.
But I have the two unaired episodes still.
Yep.
One of them was completely RuneScape themed, and I'm kind of I'm tempted to maybe post them at some point just to
Just for laughs.
yeah, just to like as like nostalgia. I have to actually
Yeah.
listen to them though, because I'm not
Will
sure.
you post them to Spotify or will you post them just
No.
to
They'd
YouTube?
be
Okay.
strictly they'd be strictly
Okay,
YouTube.
okay. Because I was going to say, maybe just keep it to YouTube.
No, I'm not going through the effort of putting them on podcasting services because they're not
Okay.
worth it.
Yeah.
They were strictly YouTube podcasts.
Okay, sounds good.
I have to listen to them though, because I'm not sure if they're even appropriate anymore.
you
Honestly,
don't
I
know
need to
what
go
some of the
back
things-
and listen to those 4 or 5 episodes we already did, because I have to make sure those are okay. Because I have no
Yeah.
idea, because those were recorded in 2013, and
Ooh, I
world
don't
is-
know. If I were you, I would take those down.
no, we didn't do anything too stupid, because they were pretty, by that point, into that.
I think it would be more just like say something stupid. Not do something stupid, but say something It's not appropriate now. But it's up to you. It's your YouTube channel.
I'll have to I'll have to
you...
listen to them at some point. I mean, no one, they have like barely any views, and no one's made a stink about them to this point for how long they've been up. But
yep,
you can't hide from the past, so.
Yep, but you can sure try.
Well, I can hide. I can hide from live action past because no one needs to ever know about that. But
yeah, that should. I was in some of those, so please burn them forever.
They're all privated and no one will ever see them. But
Whew, good.
Anyways, we've dragged this on long enough.
Yes.
Once again, guys, thank you for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. The Gaming and Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and we are made on Anchor. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter along with Good Pods, and the episodes will be on YouTube eventually whenever I get around to it. But once again, guys, thanks again for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
And we're joining a cult.
The RuneScape cult.
The RuneScape cult. Our own cult. We're culters. We're joining a cult. Did you stop recording?
No. I'm kind of contemplating. But
You're
anyways,
contemplating your life decisions. All right,
yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.